From the special election on gerrymandering to mocking Trump with his own style, Gavin Newsom and his team have fired up the partisan firebrand in me. But that's not the only side of me that's reacting to these moves. Certainly these actions fit the moment, but in some cases I do wonder about their effectiveness. And I also know that there are some dangers that need to be watched out for here. Independents offering no solutions but often criticizing both sides have more ammunition proving their point. More people get disillusioned with how politics works in America, and more. So politics has always had this element of backroom dealing and an element for public consumption and manipulation. Our media landscape is eager for stories that matter, and media covers politics like a 24/7, 365 blood sport. The closer the race, the more the shock and the scandal, the better the paycheck. And that's what they're there for. Military strategist Karl von Clausewitz is attributed with saying, "War is a continuation of politics by other means." Given our current state of affairs, I'd say politics itself has become a war. It would be glossing over our past to ignore the fact that politicians from previous generations literally shot each other in the streets over disagreements, right? This has happened. Politics has been ugly from the beginning. Today, we're going to touch on the two dirty deeds California is deploying in defense of our democracy. First up, gerrymandering. Now, before we get into it, kudos to California voters. Through the power of ballot measures, California implemented fair maps in 2008 with the Voters' First Act. Sidebar here, this is the way. Citizens can implement laws without buying congresspeople like corporations. This is the way. In the spirit of fixing government first, I think getting involved in state and local government and pushing for avenues of citizen-led reform is the best way for us to get things turned around. Thank you, California. See, I live in Wisconsin, and in Wisconsin, we've had the worst of the worst for gerrymandered maps since 2010. I know firsthand the pain of a state run by the only thing worse than the tyranny of the majority, and that's the tyranny of the minority. In statewide elections, races like governor and president in Wisconsin, they're won by 1%, give or take 0.5%. It's like 3 votes per ward. It's a ridiculously small margin. Despite this deep purple hue to the land of dairy and more lakes than Minnesota, it was only a few seats shy of a supermajority for Republicans in the state legislature for over 15 years. Through the efforts of countless friends of democracy, the tide eventually turned. Groups like the Wisconsin Fair Maps Coalition built grassroots support for fair maps. One of the most effective tactics was getting local, city, and county officials to pass ordinances in support of fair maps. This helped build political awareness and demand. The scam finally fell apart when progressive judges gained a majority on the state Supreme Court. Our maps are mixed. The state ones have been redrawn. Congressional districts, not so much. Winding up for the 2030, the Wisconsin Fair Maps Coalition is on to their next plan, and that's this 3-year plan to do what California has had since 2008, and that's an independent commission to draw the maps. And this 3-year plan is genius because it starts with raising awareness, getting buy-in, getting everyone to do the homework and figure out what it is. It's not saying this is the plan, this is how we're going to do it. It's saying everybody in on this, we're going to do it the right way. Best of luck, Wisconsin Fair Maps Coalition. I'm with you. So now back to California. Like everyone else, I hear Trump is asking for seats. He's going to Texas. They're going to redraw their congressional maps halfway between censuses with no justification other than Republicans want more seats. And I was livid. I just can't stand it. If a state is majority Republican and they get a majority Republican seats, that's one thing. If it is A slim majority crushing the minority, that's a different thing, and that's not democracy. That's not what we should be. So instantly upset. Didn't really, what can we do about this besides the obvious, in my opinion? Like, sooner or later, we have to have some federal standard for what gerrymandering is and how it should be applied. We can do this because we're the adults in the room now, right? We can do just about anything we want with constitutional amendments. So a little bit of despair around this, kind of frustrated. Winning back the House is big. If we can do that in 2026, we can stop the Republican steamrolling machine. And then I hear about California looking to change their maps. Immediately like, yes, somebody's fighting. And then immediately, no, wait a minute. Like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. And like, I was torn because I want someone to fight back somehow. But this, again, is like doing, what is it? What do they say? The ends justifying the means. And I'm like, it doesn't really work that way. Like in 2030, if Wisconsin gerrymanders democratically because we can, I'm not down with that. I think we should have independent. So to be honest, I was against this plan. Everyone was excited about it. I get it. I want to win. I want people that fight. It's fighting. I was upset. But the more I read about the process, the less concerns I had. Turns out they were doing it right. They're still honoring that spirit where they were going to pass a law, and it has passed now, if I'm not mistaken, where it only would go into effect if Texas further gerrymandered their maps. It would only go into effect if the voters of the state voted for it, and this change would be effectively rolled back in 2030 when it was time to redraw the maps. So in the world of dirty deeds, yes, if you're a collaborator, competitor, because I don't like just saying opponent, because at the end of the day, I also think that's part of the problem. We need to struggle, but we also have to recognize we're all in this nation together. But we'll just say opponent for the sake of expediency. If your opponent is doing this, we need some way to tip the scales back in our favor, and at least we're doing it ethically, right? It's like Russia saying, yeah, we're going to send in all these drones, we're going to send in missiles, and we're going to bomb civilians, and we're like, hey, this isn't cool. That's not right. You're bombing civilian infrastructure. Ukraine can fight back, but to the best of my knowledge, Ukraine isn't going after civilian targets. They're just going after military targets. And I think everyone would agree that that is absolutely fair for them to do, especially seeing as how Russia invaded them. So kudos to California. Good thinking, good execution. Thank you very much. All right, on to the next one. Trolling for political clout. And this is in regards to Gavin Newsom's recent social media communications mocking Donald Trump in his own tone and style, complete with all caps. And this is absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Don't like it when Trump does it. It's good to call him out for it. There's things that make it effective to some people. It's speaking to people in a simple language. It's putting things in very clear-cut, exaggerated, and simple terms, not mincing any words, not calling for shades of gray. It's fighting language. People love a fighter. They love a politician that will fight for them. And there's just a lot that is really effective here. What I don't really like about it is I think it can break the power of authority. It can lower your sense of credibility with a broader audience. And who are we fighting for? Are we fighting to get some of these voters from Trump away from Trump because we're going to speak in their language, but then we're turning off a bunch of independents? We're lowering the overall bar if we lean into this too much. Trolling an authoritarian fascist like Trump, that's for South Park. They do it great. They've been doing it fantastic. That's the right vehicle to call out their worst things in hilarious language, to truly mock them and bring them down a couple of pegs. To have your allies do it, that's great. To come out as an elected leader and lean on that too much beyond just the shock value of, look, I can do it too, isn't great. I think one other positive thing of it, I saw Fox News actually get into this a little bit and criticize Gavin Newsom for talking in that style and how he was doing it. And just fantastic that they did that, because now we can take those clips of Fox News analysis and juxtapose those with Donald Trump's actual tweets and make it look like they're criticizing him, which they effectively are if they're criticizing that style. Again, people love a fighter, and this definitely feels like fighting, but in my opinion, I don't know how effective it is. It got me riled up. It got me excited. You know, I do have a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth if it's done too much, but it got me riled up. But then again, that's speaking to the choir. I'm already activated. I'm doing things. I'm organizing. I'm already doing all the things, and I don't know how many people on the sidelines or how many people you're going to flip by speaking that language. So again, doing it somewhat, it's good to rally the troops that are already in the game, but I don't know how much you want to lean on that style. Also, winning at a bad game doesn't really get you what you want. Playing and winning the game right gets you the outcome. If we lower the bar to that permanently, the game changes. Politics gets even nastier. We get more entrenched in bipartisanship. More people just bow out altogether, and small groups of extremists on both sides are playing tug of war over the nation. I think that's a danger to doing it. I think if you're going to do it in certain situations, I think it could be very good to like set the cycle, the news cycle, right? As a troll, you go out and you drop something and promise something in the future and get the media to talk about it, but you don't actually deliver. And right, like you're like Lucy with the ball, and they're Charlie Brown, and they're winding it up, and then they come to kick it, you pull away. At the end of the day, people were still talking about that story for a while. So there's times and places to use stuff like that, but it's not something you want to do all the time. In general, I think these are both moves that meet the moment. Completely grateful. Gavin Newsom, his team, all of California. As much as I hate gerrymandering, the way it sounds like it's going to be done, I would encourage you to vote for it. We need some sanity restored so we can clean up our government. So as much as they meet the moment, I'm eager to see both of these tactics marginalized. This is not leadership at the grandest level. Trump is setting the tone now, and we may have to play his game for a little bit, but let's not set the next game with the same tone. Thanks for listening.